Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 447, the Minecraft Streamer's Friend. I will tell you what that all has to do about later on this episode. Actually, it's probably going to be one of the first things to talk about, but not the first thing I talk about. The first thing I will talk about today will be Star Wars Celebration happened this week and blew the doors off of everything. All kinds of Star Wars news and Lucasfilm in general news came out this week. The 2002 Death Watch has continued with a few more deaths that had hit a little bit harder than usual. So that's kind of a depressing aspect to it as well. More science stuff coming through, including a new, what is it? We're just one right here. I just had it right here. A new state of matter, a brand new meteor shower, some more medieval weapons discovered, and a cannon discovered in a pitching mound. I think I mentioned something like that before, but I'll do it again. Some returns, some money, some casting, some trailers, a very interesting Lego set. Jodie Foster, who hasn't been seen for a while, has a new role, as does Rowan Atkinson. If you've been following the show, you know that there was a TV show that I auditioned for, didn't get. One of the cast members has left this show before filming their role, so we'll see about that. An interesting flavor of ice cream. We finally have news about Fortnite's final event, live event for the new season, or for the old season, before the new season starts. Some football news. The Gondwanatherian. We'll find out what that is. Mountain Dew, again, is re-releasing a flavor they haven't released in a while, but another catch, which is starting to get annoying. Some farewells. Oh, yeah. Euphoria actually makes a couple of appearances here in there as well. And Bigfoot and Night Court and Stephen King and all kinds of fun stuff. Hobbits. Arctic explorers, all kinds of wild stuff. So, a volcano full of sharks, something happened with that. We got lots to cover today's episode of Dylan Knows. It is May 28th, I believe. Saturday, May 28th. Presently 11:48 p.m. when I'm filming this live. Obviously, if you're going to watch it later, it might not be 11:48. It might be 3 a.m., might be 5 p.m. tomorrow, whatever. It is Memorial Day weekend. We remember those we lost in the wars. That's what Memorial Day is about. Veterans Day is for those who served and have served honorably and have honorably left, like my cousin. He's a veteran. He fought in some wars. He did his duty, his due diligence, and he has retired, and now he flies airplanes for FedEx. And Armed Forces Day is to celebrate those that are still fighting the fight. So they all get different days. This one, Memorial Day, obviously, is for those that we lost. I've been lucky enough that while my family hasn't been that active in the military, there are lots of people in my family, various branches of it, my cousins particularly, my grandfather, who have fought in the wars and fought for our country in various shapes and forms. So we just have to remember those that we lost. Luckily at my point was, I sort of got sidetracked to that, even though I have people in my family who have been in the wars and stuff like that, I never lost any in battle. So I'm thankful for that, but I do feel awful and terrible for the families that have lost people who've been defending our country. So just as always, I always do on Memorial Day, I would take a moment of silence here real quick to remember those that we lost. Thank you. So we go from actual true life war to fictional Star Wars. This week, obviously, May 25th, 2022 was the 45th anniversary of the release of Star Wars. It's May 25th is Geek Pride Day. It's Towel Day. But mostly it's remembered for the fact that Star Wars, which set everybody on this course for the most part, debuted 45 years ago on May 25th. So in order to celebrate that, multiple things came out. Star Wars Celebration, which is an event that happens every year where new Star Wars stuff is announced. With the acquisition by Disney, they've been going all out. Their most recent Star Wars show, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which has been one of the most awaited, with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen in it, debuted on Friday. 2 episodes dropped on Friday. I'll give you my review in a little bit there. Let's get some of this, some of these news out of the way. The Star Wars event that started Disney's takeover of Star Wars was The Mandalorian, when Disney Plus debuted 3-4 years ago. I forget how long it's been now. The first show that they released was Mandalorian season 1, and they released, I think, 2 episodes of that on the first day of Disney Plus. I kind of remember because I stayed home to set up my Disney Plus account and watch them before everyone else could, you know. So they were the first show to come out from Disney Plus, even before the Marvel shows. The Marvel shows were delayed multiple times due to COVID and stuff like that, with WandaVision coming out last year, 2021, as the first Marvel show. And since WandaVision, we've had 6 Marvel shows since WandaVision debuted, with another one debuting in a couple weeks with Miss Marvel rolling through here, and She-Hulk coming in August, announced last week. But hey, much like with what's going on now with Obi-Wan debuting on Friday, it'll go back to its Wednesday stuff on Wednesday, June 1st. Yes, Wednesday is June 1st next week. And then June 7th is the debut of Miss Marvel. Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel are going to overlap for episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Obi-Wan, and 1, 2, and 3 of Miss Marvel are going to overlap until, you know, this is done. And then you've got like 3 or 4 more episodes after that of Miss Marvel. And this week, one of the announcements during Star Wars Celebration was Andor, which is the next Star Wars show based on the character from the Rogue One movie. It's a prequel to Rogue One for the most part, featuring the character of Andor. Has finally got a debut date of August 31st. And I believe She-Hulk is coming out about 2 weeks before then. I can't remember when She-Hulk is due out, but they also are going to overlap as well, which is going to be kind of interesting to see how that all works out. But yes, so we'll have a couple of overlaps coming up here real soon. I have to catch Rogue One. I'm probably going to do that probably when my kids and wife are at their camp at the end of June. I'll probably, because I'm going to already know I'm going to set up a bunch of movie dates, because I'm taking a few days off during that week. And I'll just be watching movies. I think that's my plan anyway. So August 31st is when Andor's due out. So that's the next Star Wars one to come out after Kenobi. Then after that, I think it's a little hazy. I don't think they have anything else planned for this year. No, that's not true. They do, because they just announced also this week that where is it? Tales of the Jedi, which is an animated anthology, will be coming out in fall 2022. So that's going to be your fall Star Wars show. We don't know when that's going to come out, but because What If did so well for Marvel, Star Wars is going to do it as well, and they're going to be taking look at, I think they said this is going to focus on the prequel characters. They've already announced that Liam Neeson is going to come back and voice Qui-Gon Jinn in one of the episodes of Tales of the Jedi. They've shown some production work is going to focus on Ahsoka's mother, which I don't think they've ever mentioned about her before, and to see Ahsoka's upbringing. So you're going to focus more on the prequel stuff in this Tales of the Jedi animated anthology due out fall 2022. So that is the next one to come out after Andor. So they are going to have one coming out like that. Now, 2023 is going to be a big one for Star Wars, much like how Marvel has big ones. Star Wars is now starting to get into the role. The big news that came out of Star Wars Celebration was Mandalorian Season 3 with Grogu coming back and Bo-Katan coming back, Katie Sackhoff doing that role again. Tim Meadows has been cast in a role in Mandalorian Season 3. You already know that Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd is going to have a role in it as well. Mandalorian Season 3 will be due out in February 2023. Do not know the exact date yet, but it is planned for February 2023. Ahsoka, which is presently being filmed right now, is due out to come out probably right after Mandalorian Season 3, probably because it takes place in the same time frame. Will be out in 2023 as well. Sabine and Chopper, Ezra, Hera, and other characters will be appearing from Rebels, will be appearing in the live action Ahsoka show. So that was announced this week as well. So you'll be seeing live action versions of your animated favorites like they did with the Clone Wars with Bo-Katan and a bunch of others as well. So that's really good. And then they blindsided us, not in the bad way, when they released a title and casting for a show that had not really been talked about called Skeleton Crew, and it's going to feature Jude Law in the main role there. So we don't know much about it, except last week I think I mentioned that John Watts, who directed the Spider-Man trilogy for MCU, was doing a Star Wars project. Apparently this is the project now. So we knew he was doing one, but we weren't expecting it to be announced as early as a week after he said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing one." So this is called Skeleton Crew, and Jude Law is the lead in it. They're saying it's going to be comparative to the Goonies, so obviously that probably means they're going to go on some sort of search for something, whatever. So that's kind of interesting as well. They also announced another animated series called Young Jedi Adventures. I guess aimed more for kids. It's going to focus on younglings, actually, and it's actually going to be taking place during the High Republic time, back when the Jedi were more plentiful, and the adventures of the young Jedis. Now, I just hope that doesn't mean we're going to get young Ben Kenobi or young Obi-Wan, I should say, and we already have young Yoda, but young Jedis that we know, young Mace Windu. That'd be kind of funny to have a Samuel L. Jackson on helium voicing young Mace Windu. So that'd be kind of funny. But well, no, but they announced that's going to be animated as well. That didn't have a release date. I'm assuming it's going to be probably the animated series for 2023, since we have Tales of the Jedi coming out in 2022. Now, something interesting we'll talk about in a second here. I was getting ahead of myself there. Taika Waititi, who also made news this week because of Thor, but we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Also made news during the Star Wars Celebration. It was announced that the next Star Wars movie to make its debut in movie theaters will be Taika Waititi's secret movie that no one knows anything about. And here's the kicker. It's coming out in 2023. I was like, what? I know it's only May, but we're almost halfway through 2022, and they haven't even started any working on this Taika Waititi Star Wars movie, and you're expected to come out in 2023. Now, obviously, they're probably aiming for a December release date, which is when they've been releasing these things, so maybe he'll be able to do it. But he's ensconced right now in the press for Thor: Love and Thunder, so he's probably going to have to deal with that for a little while, and then he's not going to probably be able to start filming till August, maybe at the earliest, since it doesn't come out till July, and he's going to do press all the way up to that point. So I don't know what's going on with that, but they say 2023. So let's look for Taika Waititi's. The next Star Wars movie will be out 2023. It's not supposed to be a trilogy. It's supposed to be a standalone. Last week I told you about all the other stuff that's coming out. Rogue Squadron's been pushed to the back burner. Ryan Johnson's trilogy or TV series or whatever has also been pushed back as well. But they said Taika's is going to be the next one, and it's due out in 2023. So I'm assuming, and he did a voice for the Pixar film Lightyear, and so he's probably gonna do press for that also. So he's not gonna be able to really work on this stuff maybe until after the summer, and then I guess a year and a few months is going to be enough to do it, depending on what the storyline is, I guess. But we'll see. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But they did say Taika Waititi's his Star Wars movie will be the next one to come out in movie theaters, and it's due out next year, 2023. So 2023 looks to be a big year for Star Wars. It makes it, let's see, 83 to 90, makes it the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So they're probably going to be doing some Return of the Jedi stuff around. That was actually May 25th, 1983. So they might do a special 40th anniversary edition like that. And they're probably going to release the anthology book series that I was looking at on Amazon that they released for all the other like anniversaries from a certain point of view, which is anthology of Star Wars stuff based around the movie. So from a certain point of view, Star Wars took a look at minor characters in Star Wars, the movie, and wrote stories about them, one including the monster and the junk thing in Star Wars. And then I guess in 2020, they released from a certain point of view Empire Strikes Back, because that would have been the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. And they talked about someone who cares for the Wampas and stuff like that. So I'm assuming there isn't a Return of the Jedi one yet. So I'm assuming that'll come out probably next year for its 40th anniversary. So we're going to have that celebration. 2023 is going to be a big year for Star Wars again. So yes, the Star Wars 40th anniversary was this week. There wasn't really as much of a big deal about it as I thought there would be. I guess they're waiting for 5 years for 2027 when it'll be the 50th anniversary, and that'll be a big how do you do probably about it. But still, you'd think that they would do something. Oh, well, don't know. But yeah, it was the 45th anniversary. I wore my Star Wars t-shirt that I was looking for. I actually found it, so that was good. Real quick, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get this. For those who've been watching the show, I've been buying the the different Green Lantern Corps, the Lantern Corps shirts I used to have when they first came out years ago. I bought them when they first came out years ago. I wore them to death. They have holes in them and they're all worn, and they're also extra larges, and I'm much bigger now, so I have a 2XL. So a few weeks ago, I discovered, actually probably about a month or so ago, I discovered a new vendor on Amazon who is selling updated versions of the shirts. So I reestablished all of mine, and I also bought some that I hadn't had before. Where I'm going to actually, there's two, the indigo, not the indigo, I got that one, the violet and the white ones, which I've never gotten a thing of. They're my next one's coming up. But I decided that, hey, I'm going to start wearing these for all my shows. So way back, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I wore my Green Lantern one, and then I wore like the Blue Lantern one, and then I wore the Yellow Lantern one, and then last week I did 2 episodes because I was talking about my cat Jinx. I wore my indigo one and the red one, I guess. So I've been wearing a different Green Lantern Corps shirt for every episode I've been doing, and I was afraid because all those came quickly, but these other ones, these last 3 are coming from a different area, so it's going to take longer. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to wear this, and I was going to break my streak, but then I got notice today, it's coming today, and it came today, and I'm wearing it now. So I'm hoping for the same thing to happen next week. I ordered the violet one today. Again, it's probably not, it has a date range of Wednesday to Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, Tuesday. I'm sorry. It's like more like Thursday to Tuesday is the window that they have for that. So hopefully by this time next week, I'll have my indigo or my violet one on. I'll have that for the show and I won't have to break. But that's besides the point. Obi-Wan came out this week. 2 episodes, the show, and they were very different. The first one was a slow burn setup, detailing what Obi-Wan's been doing, what's been going on around the world, and I've been seeing people who are like bored with that. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. You need to set up, you can't always have action all the time. You need to set up certain things. So we had to find out what's Obi-Wan been doing for the last 10 years. What's Luke been doing? What's Leia been doing? How's the Empire going on? What's going on with all that? So basically we got a story that opens, the first episode opens with the not Area 66, but the Order 66. That's what it was. Order 66. That the Emperor said at the end of Revenge of the Sith, which clicked all the clone soldiers to turn on their Jedi partners and kill them all in a brutal bloodbath that took over the last half of Revenge of the Sith and became ensconced in Star Wars history as one of the worst time frames, whatever. And so we get a beginning of Obi-Wan went back to that fateful day when Order 66 happened. And there's a theory that I'll get into a second about why they did that. It doesn't come from me. It comes from either my wife or my daughter, I forget what it was. But it could be pretty obvious. And then it shifted to, and then went to like 10 years later, and Obi-Wan's working at a meat processing plant, chopping up meat and stuff like that. And always taking a bit with him. He's probably not supposed to, and then takes him back to his hovel where he has a guard to make sure that there's nobody coming or hiding in his cave, and he just does his thing and meditates and is trying to contact Qui-Gon. He hasn't been able to talk to Qui-Gon for 10 years. So he's been trying to get in contact with him, and then he has dealings with with a Jawa to get some stuff that he needs, including a present for Luke that he's going to drop off in secret. And then he goes to Owen Lars's farm where Luke is being raised to keep an eye on him. And we see how Luke is, showing his curiosity and wanting to become a pilot and all that stuff. So we're seeing that, and Owen's frustration is starting to show a little bit with him. And then Obi-Wan delivers a present to him and stuff like that in the dark, so nobody sees him, and then goes away, and then just starts over again with him, chopping up meat and doing stuff. And then there's a sequence then that introduces the Inquisitors, which if you haven't been watching Rebels, you don't know, or not, was it Rebels or Clone Wars might have introduced them. No, they didn't, because this happened after Rebels introduced them. Inquisitors, which are after Order 66 happened, there was a group that was put together of Force-sensitive people who were disillusioned with the Jedi and were hunting down any remaining Jedi that survived, and were going to torture them and kill them and stuff like that. So we have Inquisitors who land on Tatooine. They say they're looking for a specific Jedi that they know that this area has been hiding them, and trying to pull them out. So you're thinking that they're talking about Obi-Wan. They're not. They're talking about some other young Jedi who happens to be in the bar that they go into, and they have a little fight, and he's able to escape because one of them, one of the Inquisitors, Beva, I believe her name is, has a serious case of anger issues, viciousness, and wanting to, kill stuff. Whereas the High Inquisitor is more of a, calmer sort of thing, and has always been saying it, putting Beva down because she's doing all this stuff. But she's very proficient with her lightsaber and her Force powers. So, and she has excuse my comment, has a hard-on for Obi-Wan wanting to find him, because she believes that they've been looking for Obi-Wan for 10 years and she wants to be the one to find him. I guess the main reason why is to be the one to show favor to Darth Vader, because he's been looking for Obi-Wan, and whoever brings Obi-Wan to him alive will be looked on in favor by Darth Vader. So I think Beva, for whatever reason, she wants to do that. But I also think, and this is the theory that my wife or daughter came up with, they believe that Beva was one of the younglings that was, witnessed the death of her of Jedi protectors during the Order 66 stuff, and believes that she wants revenge on Obi-Wan, not only to get favor with Darth Vader, but because he failed to save the younglings, or it was, they all know that Anakin was his Padawan, and that him turning evil and doing all this awful stuff is indirectly Obi-Wan's fault. And Obi-Wan is showing guilt through the first episode. So the Inquisitors stay in the area, obviously. So the next day, Obi-Wan's in town, whatever, and Owen comes to see him and has a, sort of a conversation with him, gives back the princess. He doesn't need anything from you. Keep away from the boy. And Obi-Wan's like, he needs to be trained, blah, blah, blah. And Owen's just ragging on him, and Obi-Wan's asking how he is. Like, you don't care. And Owen's like, you don't care how he is. You don't know if he's showing yet. And the Inquisitors show up again. Obi-Wan goes into hiding, and Beva goes after Owen and threatens to kill his entire family and him if no one in Mos Espa reveals the Jedi that they know is there, which they believe is Kenobi. And just before she's about to kill Owen, she gets stopped again by the High Inquisitor, who does not like her ruthlessness and threatens to, for all intents and purposes, disbar her from the Inquisitors. So they go away. And we move on from that to, we follow what's going on with Leia. We see Leia and her day-to-day stuff as a 10-year-old, learning the ways of a princess in Alderaan, showing signs of being this free-spirited, loner sort of girl who wants to experience all kinds of stuff, but also showing toughness and discipline and diplomacy and stuff like that, even for a 10-year-old. And we get to see the love and relationship between her and her adopted parents. Jimmy Smits comes back to play Bail Organa, so it's good to see him as well in the show. And it's good to see him being a doting father, which is really cool. And his wife is hot, but I'm sorry, I had to say it, but because Leia has sort of this flightiness or just wants to explore and stuff like that, she sometimes, disobeys orders from her parents and goes out into the woods surrounding Alderaan and goes exploring and stuff like that. Well, one day she goes a little too far and gets kidnapped by some kidnappers. The lead kidnapper, which I discovered later on, I had my suspicions, but when I saw the credits, like, oh, it is. I thought it was. It's played by Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. And at first, he's almost unrecognizable, but when we get to him more in the second episode, it's like, yeah, that's Flea. Yeah, you can just tell by the way his face looks, the way he sounds. But it's a good substantial role in these first two episodes. So it's good to see Flea doing some stuff as well. So that was fun to see that as well. So Leia gets kidnapped, and of course, Bail knows Obi-Wan very well. So he pleads with Obi-Wan to save Leia. Obi-Wan doesn't want to because he has a duty to keep an eye on Luke, and he also is afraid that he's going to get found and blah, blah, blah like that. But eventually Bail comes in person to Tatooine to find him and convinces him to go after Leia. So the second that's where the first episode ends, and the second episode comes in where Obi-Wan is now on the planet where Leia has been taken, and he's got to find her, and has to go through a fake Jedi, discovers a former clone trooper who was played, apparently, that I just saw this by I forget the actor's name, but the one who played Jango Fett and Boba Fett, and who the clones are made of. He played the role of this hobo clone trooper. So that was kind of a neat thing to see that as well. A little throwback to some stuff. And eventually Obi-Wan finds Leia and has to convince her to trust him and convince her that he's a Jedi, though he doesn't want to do any of that stuff. And she's very demanding about proof. And then she eventually decides to run away from him. I forget the reason. I think it had to do with something else. But she decides to try to run away from him because she doesn't trust him right away. And then we also learned that Beva has set up this whole thing. She hired these people to kidnap Leia because she knew that Bail would contact Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan wouldn't be able to say no to him to try to save Leia. So it was a trap to set up Obi-Wan, and she almost succeeds, but Obi-Wan is able to escape, and he learns that Anakin's still alive, and that's where the episode ends with Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader opening his eyes in the back of the tank. So that's where Obi-Wan now knows that Anakin's still alive. He's able to have rescued Leia, and they're on their way back to Alderaan. And he got away from Beva and the other Inquisitors. And the other thing about that is Beva ended up putting a saber through the High Inquisitor, which is not supposed to happen yet because this story takes place before Rebels, I believe. Because I think Rebels takes place just before Star Wars, and this is still about 10 years away from Star Wars happening. So there's got to be, and Rupert Friend, who was cast in the role of the High Inquisitor, is a fairly well-known actor. I think he was in Dark City, I think. Also, I kind of remember he was in that as well. It has a substantial role, and is a major character, and is in Rebels, and dies in Rebels. So there's got to be something else to that story than that. So we're going to find out more about that. But the big reveal was that, this is where Obi-Wan learns that Anakin is still alive. And so we know that's probably going to set him off. Once he drops Leia off, it's going to set him off into trying to find Anakin, which is a stupid move on Obi-Wan's part, but we'll see what happens. Now, the first episode seemed a little bit longer than usual, which was fine. It was a good episode, good setup, stuff like that. The second one breezed by like there was nothing. So both are really good, and I'm glad I checked it out, and looking forward to the next episode on Wednesday, June 1st. Talk about death now because we've had some big deaths here, and then I'll get back to some Lucasfilm stuff that was announced at Star Wars Celebration. But take a little breather from Star Wars for a second. Ray Liotta. This is Damn You 2022. Ray Liotta passed away this week at the age of 67. Everyone knows who Ray Liotta was. Shoeless Joe Jackson in Field of Dreams. The character in Goodfellas, I forget his name right now, is his most famous role probably. But he's done a ton of roles, No Escape, and he's just been, Hannibal. He's been in a ton of movies, and everybody knows who Ray Liotta is, but mostly from Field of Dreams and Goodfellas are the two main ones that most people remember Ray Liotta from. He was actually filming another movie, I think, down in Brazil or Rio or something like that, and he died in his sleep at the age of 67. No one knows yet how he died. I'm sure the autopsy will reveal, and they'll reveal his cause of death to us momentarily. But yeah, so 2022 strikes again with the death of Ray Liotta. Also strikes again with the death of Andy Fletcher. Now, people might not know Andy Fletcher's name as much as they know Ray Liotta's, but I guarantee you that most people in my generation have heard of Depeche Mode. There was a bit on Wayne's World where Mike Myers is like, I'm feeling a bit Depeche today. But Depeche Mode, as a great pop 80s band, Enjoy the Silence, Personal Jesus, stuff like that. Great songs, good 80s band, different than your typical poppy sort of band, sort of kind of had that UK, not punk vibe so much, but sort of that UK sort of different style of music, not quite pop, but not quite whatever else. Hard to describe. Andy Fletcher was founding member of Depeche Mode. He died at the age of 60 this week. That was kind of sad. And the last death, I'm pretty sure I don't think of any other ones that occurred that was fairly big this week, was Colin Cantwell. Now, another name that people might not know, but him dying this week is bittersweet because Colin Cantwell was a major designer of Star Wars stuff. He worked on the original trilogy and the other trilogies of Star Wars. He created the X-Wing fighter. He was the one that designed it, created it, and built it. And a whole bunch of other stuff as well. He passed away this week as well, which was Star Wars week, which is kind of sad, but it's also, kind of happenstance that it happened on this week. So I think that's all the deaths that happened this week. So a couple of good ones there. Did I write his? Sorry, I'm just checking something here. I guess I have it on another page. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I'm just thinking about something else. So what else is going on this week? So let's go back to, since we had a little bit of break with the death, let's go back to some more reveals from the Star Wars celebration. Now, it's not all just Star Wars stuff, it's Lucasfilm stuff. And one of the other big things that is coming out from Lucasfilms on Disney Plus is the Willow TV series. Now, Willow was a movie, came out, I think, in the late 80s, like 89 or something like that. It was Ron Howard directed it, and George Lucas probably, I think, wrote the screenplay and produced it. And basically what it was is, I think George Lucas was trying to get the rights to Lord of the Rings. And back in the late 80s, there really wasn't, I guess it was really hard to get the rights to it from Tolkien's estate, or even if Tolkien might have still been alive at that time, I'm not exactly sure. But he was unable to get the rights to Lord of the Rings. I think he wanted to make a Lord of the Rings movie. So he wrote his own, I believe. Let me verify that George Lucas wrote Willow. Willow, 1988. Yeah, story by George Lucas. Yep. Starred Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer, Joanne Whalley, Billy Barty, and Gene Marsh. Music by James Horner, directed by Ron Howard. Came out May 20th, 1988. So it was his version of Lord of the Rings, and Ron Howard directed it. And it starred, I just had his name too. I can't remember his name right now. There it is. Warwick Davis. For those who don't know, Warwick Davis is a little person. He was, again, my mind is a blank, the main Ewok, Wicket, in Return of the Jedi, who found Princess Leia. He was Wicket. He also is Leprechaun in the horror series Leprechaun. He plays Leprechaun. In the Harry Potter series, he played one of the Goblin bankers, the one that Harry meets for the first time. Sorcerer's Stone was also the one in the Deathly Hallows who had been tortured by Voldemort into trying to create a wand, and they freed him from Griphook and freed him from there, and he helped them break into Gringotts. And he also played the Flitwick, Professor Flitwick in the Harry Potter series, the one who is one of the I think he's Hufflepuff. No, is he the head of Ravenclaw? He might be the head of Ravenclaw, actually. But he is, one of the charms teachers, and I think he's one of the head of. I think he's the head of house for Ravenclaw. Let me just verify that again. Man, my brain is just toast right now. Professor Flitwick. Yep. Professor Phileas Flitwick was the charms master and head of Ravenclaw House during Harry's first year at Hogwarts. So, yep, that's what it was. So, that's all Warwick Davis, and he also played Willow in this movie. So, he has signed on to do a TV series for Disney Plus. We got the first trailer for it, and it's due November, around Thanksgiving, I think, like November 30th, I think, is when it's due out. So it's like due the week after Thanksgiving, but it's around Thanksgiving though. So it'll be a good lead into Christmas and stuff like that. But I watched a trailer of it, and it's been a while since I've seen the movie. It's been a hot minute since I've seen the movie. And I kind of liked how the trailer looked. I mean, fantasy is now huge again. 89, it didn't do that well because fantasy was considered flighty and not interesting. But with the arrival of the Lord of the Rings films, the rebirth of Dungeons and Dragons, with the Wheel of Time getting its own series on Amazon, a Game of Thrones, all that kind of stuff, getting these big stuff in the latter half of the 20th century and early 21st century. It's now time for Willow to join that pantheon, and this trailer really makes it look like they're going balls to the wall with the fantasy aspects of it. And I think it's going to be successful because of it. And maybe that'll bring about a rebirth in the movie. I know that's one of, again, as I said, end of June, when my wife and kids are at their Boy Scout camp, or I shouldn't say Boy Scout but Scout camp. I'm going to watch a ton of movies. I've already decided I'm just going to have to force myself to do that instead of just sitting around in my butt playing Fortnite and just sleeping and stuff like that. I need to do something. So I've got a list of movies I want to check out. Rogue One is one of them. And I want to rewatch Willow, I think. So I don't have a copy of it. So I think I'm going to pick that up as well here soon. So the Willow trailer came out, and it looks really, really good. And it also, because Top Gun 2 came out this week as well, and Val Kilmer's in that. Val Kilmer was also in Willow, the movie. He announced that he is going to have a substantial role in the TV show as well. He just has not been seen yet. It's obviously the first trailer, and they did like a teaser thing where Warwick was introducing the cast, which is kind of a funny tongue-in-cheek thing. So that's going to come. We'll find out more about that end of November around Thanksgiving. So that's good on that. Indiana Jones 5 has also been set for a June 2023 debut. I believe it's the 23rd of June. 2023 is when, does that match up? I think so. When it's going to be due out in theaters. They had the first picture of it, which is basically Harrison Ford in shadow with fedora and the whip in his hand, like standing on a cave thing with a waterfall underneath him. So, and it's like he's exploring a dark cave. So that's all we know about that. So we'll probably get more about that as we get closer to the 2023 time frame. But yeah, we'll see what happens about that as well. Speaking of fantasy aspects, the actors who played the Hobbits, Billy Boyd, Sean Astin, Dominic Monaghan, and Elijah Wood, they got together this week to have dinner. I guess they were all in the area, or they were doing something, and they all got to get dinner, and a picture was posted of them, 20 years after they did the Lord of the Rings, and see how they shows that their friendship is still strong and stuff like that. So it was nice to see that again. And I also mentioned Top Gun 2. Top Gun 2 appears to be breaking the curse of the Marvel movie. Everybody's saying, only comic book movies are going to make a ton of money. Well, guess what? Looks like Top Gun 2 is going to destroy expectations, and is expected to, during this 3-day weekend, bring in $142 million. It hit $19 million in Thursday's previews, I believe, which was a record for Paramount and stuff like that. Now, it's not the record. One of the Marvel ones has that for like $50 million or something like that. But it still exceeded expectations and is set to make $142 million. Again, we don't know for sure. We can get you, day-to-day stuff, but they can project where they think it's going to go. Thursday, they knew by Friday that it made 19 million or something like that in previews. Then today, this is when they came up with the 142 million number. I didn't see what the number was for Friday, but they are projecting what they did on Friday and Thursday through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and are saying that if it hits this consistent number, it's going to reach 142 million. And they have this, it's a theorem or something like that works it out. And they're actually fairly close to it. They're usually off by $1 million here and there, but they're not off by like 42 million or anything like that. It's not going to turn around and make like 90 million. No, it might make 140 million. It might make 145. So we don't know because they're just projecting now, saying this is what it looks like it's projected. Plus, they probably have access to tickets that have already been bought because people buy tickets ahead of time as well. So they probably have those numbers they can throw in there as well and say, well, according to these numbers, all these theaters in the country have this amount of pre-ordered tickets set. So we can make a prediction that if we take all that money, drop it into Saturday's gross, and that's only like, say, let's say 20 some million, maybe $30 million. We can project then that because of that, that's not full theaters or whatever. We can project maybe an additional 15 million is going to come out of people walking up and decide, hey, let's go see Top Gun 2. And so they'll say at the end, we'll project Saturdays to be $45 million. And then Sunday, they will get the actual projections, and then they'll course correct and say, okay, it made $42 million. So added to the total we have already, that gets us to this point at $110 million, whatever, with 2 days left in the holiday season, and more people might. So again, projecting stuff like that. So right now it's projected to hit 142 million. As I said, they tend to be very close, within $1 million, $2 million. Either way, they've never been like 10 million or $20 million off either direction. So we'll see. That's a good haul for a non-comic book movie. Yes, it's a sequel, but still, and it's got an A+ on Tomato Meter, I think, or Cinema, whatever. One of these grading things is the first A+ film they've had. It went to Cannes and got like a 10-minute standing ovation. And then there are people who I've talked to who have seen it. I think on a stream we're going to talk about in a little bit, someone said that they saw it, and it was just like, well, no, it wasn't that. It was my friend Mike. His friend saw it on Thursday night, and he told me Friday that he was bored with it because it was just rehashing the original Top Gun. Technically, that's what sequels do anyway, but it's just they didn't like it, I guess. And it could also be maybe they colored it. They don't like Tom Cruise, but we'll see anyway. So good on that. Kristen Ritter. I've been seeing this rumor now more than once. If I see it once, it's like, it's just a rumor. But I've been seeing it multiple times. Apparently, Kristen Ritter has also been rumored to be returning as Jessica Jones in an upcoming project. I think it would be perfect for her to pop up in She-Hulk. I think it'd be fun to see the two of them together. And She-Hulk she doesn't have to have a major role in it, but just say, hey, hello, I'm here. And then maybe have her pop up in Daredevil's or Echoes series or whatever like that. And then if you decide to create another Jessica Jones series, go for it. The comics have Luke Cage become the new mayor of New York City. Mike Coulter's Luke Cage for the Netflix shows ended his show run with him becoming like a new crime lord type of thing. So I think you could course correct if you wanted to, and you could maybe, if you want to bring Luke Cage back. Now, Mike Coulter is involved in the TV show Evil, so I don't know if he's going to be involved in this, but if you can get him to free up his contract, it doesn't have to be now, but a couple of years down the line, whenever he's done Evil, it's like, hey, do you want to come back and do Luke Cage? We can finish up your story arc and then maybe lead you into a new story where you're the mayor of New York City. That would be kind of a neat story, I think, to see how he does that, but we'll see what happens. But right now, rumor is Kristen Ritter is going to return as Jessica Jones in some upcoming project. There's plenty of ones to come, so it could be anything. It might not be until, say, Fantastic Four, or it may be as soon as She-Hulk. So we'll see what happens. I don't think she's going to be in Miss Marvel, but because she wouldn't fit, but she could fit in She-Hulk, I think. A lot of people could fit in She-Hulk. Never mind. We'll go there later. Keeping with pop culture stuff, and then we'll get some science stuff here to cleanse our palate here, because there's some interesting science stuff coming up. Kevin Smith, who, look, I like Kevin Smith. When I worked at Diamond, I was lucky enough to he called Diamond. He was ordering stuff. I happened to pick up the call because he was in our queue, and he ordered something from me. So, and I know because part of our job is they give us their account number, and then we read back the name of the account so that we make sure we get the right store. So if we didn't type it in wrong or whatever. And there's a list of names that people can order stuff, which makes a lot of sense. You don't want somebody just calling up and said, yeah, I work for Jay and Silent Bob's, Comic Shack or whatever, Secret Stash, that's what it is. And I want to order 100 copies of Spider-Man #1. And if you didn't have the name on there, you order 100 copies. It's going to cost them, however much it's going to cost, and they're going to be like, we already ordered our Spider-Man, we're going to do 100 extra more because somebody called in. So you have to have the names of the people who are going to be able to order for you. So you have to ask them, and who am I talking to? And most of the time it wouldn't be Kevin, but this one time when he called, I picked up his phone call. I said, who gave me the account number? So, okay, Jay and Silent Bob Silent Stash. And I said, who am I talking to? He says, this is Kevin. And I was like, okay. And I didn't geek out or anything. I just let him take the order, give me the order. And then I gave him his order number and said, farewell. Didn't say anything else with it and move on. But he's considered to be the end all be all when it comes to comic book and pop culture stuff. And that annoys me a little bit. I like Kevin, as I said, and I like some of the stuff that he does. But every time, there's stories at Comic Book Resources, like Kevin Smith gives his reaction to Avengers Endgame or Infinity Wars. Like, I don't care. Yes, he owns a comic book store and he's a comic geek and he's also a pretty successful filmmaker, but he's not our God. He's just a guy. He's one of us, and he just happens to be a bit more successful than us. We don't need to have a reaction from him of every goddamn thing. And that's what happens. They ask him, what's your reaction to Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first 2 episodes? What's, and they call him and say, hey, Kevin, what's your reaction to this? Or he's doing it on a podcast, something like that. It's like, this is what Kevin Smith said about that. And it's like, you don't need to do the story about, that's fine. He if he likes it, he likes something. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's fine. But it's not going to change my mind, or I think any other geek's mind about or nerds mind, well, geeks, because nerds are smarter, mind about a show. If he doesn't like the new Star Trek movie, and I want to go see it, I'm not going to say, oh God, Kevin Smith said not to see it, so I'm not going to go see it. No, he's not the guy that tells me what to do. I'll make my own decisions. So I get kind of sick of seeing like Comic Book Resources, stuff like that, always saying, this is Kevin Smith's reaction to this, and this is Kevin Smith's reaction to that. So I just sort of ignored that. And I don't know, he's not doing it deliberately. It's just Comic Book Resources needs content. So I was like, hey, let's talk to Kevin Smith, because everybody knows who he is. He's famous and he's a comic book geek, so let's get his opinion on things. And Kevin gives it because that's what he does, but he's not coming out and say, hey, Comic Book Resources, this is what I think of this stuff. They come to him and say, hey, Kevin, can you give us a reaction to that? So I'll give him a pass on that, but it's just kind of annoying to see that. But regardless, so he's had a lot of issues, particularly when it comes to writing comics. Now, he was able to be kept on task when he wrote Green Arrow, but his Daredevil run ended abruptly, and his Batman stuff ended abruptly. All kinds of these comic things that he started, he's never really finished. But it was announced weeks ago, and I think I announced it on the show, that he's going to be creating, I think he has his own comic book, what's the term? God, I even worked with them. He's going to have his own comic book, imprint, where he's going to do new comic content and stuff like that. So he's creating new comics and stuff like that. And he's offering a chance for you to be a character in one of his comics. So I don't know if it's a main character or if it's just as a background character, but he's offering the chance to anyone who wants to. I didn't see, because I could care less, honestly, but if you're interested in that, just look up Kevin Smith Comic Book Universe or something like that, and you'll find the story about it. So I guess that's kind of good as well. There's a new video game coming out soon that allows you to play as Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and they showed some beta testing of it, and the graphics look absolutely stunning. And you'll be playing Gollum, so that's kind of an interesting little thing as well. So it'd be interesting to see what the hell do you do about that is. I don't know if they're showing that stuff now. Is it going to be out in time for Christmas? It's possible. I'll keep you informed about that to see, but it looks good, and that might be something that maybe I could get my wife to play if it comes out for the Switch or something like that, and not just on like Xbox or something like that. So we'll check that out and let you know about that in the future. So you have I just have a bunch of science stuff coming up, but here's a few little extra little tidbits that are kind of interesting. One, and I think I mentioned this before, but it came its way on my feed again, so I figured I may as well just announce it. Oh no, that's Not yet. I'm getting ahead of myself again. No, this time this is a baseball story. So Tommy Pham of the Reds has been suspended for 3 games for slapping Giants player Jock Pederson. And we found out the reason why he went up to Jock, and they seemed to be having a heated discussion before a game or after a game or something like that. And Fan smacked him in the face, like the Will Smith special, like bam, like that. And when asked about that, I think either Pedersen or Fan, I forget who it was, said it was a disagreement over fantasy football rules. Now, the Major League Baseball players, NFL players, NBA players, hockey players, WNBA, whatever, they play each other all the time, and they know each other from their time on the farm or in college or even in high school for that matter. And sometimes they've been fellow teammates, and the team that they've been traded to other places, or they've gone to, stuff like that. So they all intersect with each other, and they all probably, maybe sometimes off season, you sometimes see a bunch of different players, hanging out in like Arizona or something, practicing. Like I think there was a couple of years ago, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback, was throwing passes to like members of the Broncos and the wide receiver and core people from the Broncos and stuff like that. Just people who happen to be in Florida at the time said, "Hey guys, you want to just, keep yourself limber a little bit and let's throw some balls back and forth." And they're like, "Sure, why not?" So they're all kinds of friends, and then of course, they probably know each other. They probably have discussions, particularly if, Giants and Reds play each other all the time. So they probably, are, see each other, at, hotels and out to dinner, and after the game, they talk to each other and stuff like that. So obviously they're probably all friends and they're connected in some way. So they are normal people too. They like to do fantasy football. I don't think they do. I think they're allowed to do fantasy baseball though, because it's not, as long as no money is being passed, I guess it's okay. But it would just be weird to have a fantasy baseball team and you're on an actual baseball team. I don't know. I don't know, but I know football's fine because it's their off season and they can do that. So apparently they probably have these NFL, they probably have set up these fantasy football standing. They probably have like 12 teams, and they get, different, players from different teams all come here. So Jock and Fan probably were friends or knew each other, and they were, playing the same fantasy football league, and they were having an argument over the rules. I don't know what the exact rule was, but it's kind of funny that they had this. But Tommy Fan slapped Pedersen in the face and got suspended for 3 games. So kind of a stupid sort of thing to do, but you still kind of make good news here. One last crazy story before we get into some science stuff. A stripper, who was hot, by the way, she's smoking hot, says she accidentally, worked her brother's bachelor party. Now, for those who don't know, and this isn't really, revealing behind the scenes of a bachelor party. I've had one for myself. I've been to my brother-in-law's ones, and not all of them, but at least one that I know of. I don't think I never went to Jeff's because I wasn't really ensconced with the family yet, and I didn't go to Mike's for some reason. I didn't want to, I guess, or whatever. But most of the time, bachelor parties consist of going places to have a dinner, getting drinks, hanging out, doing stuff. And a lot of times it goes back to a strip club, or in some cases, someone hires a stripper and you're at someone's house and the stripper comes in and strips does her job. I mean, she gets totally naked and does stuff. Like I'll give you a good example. My brother-in-law's one. There was a stripper that came in there, and she put whipped cream on her tits and on her chest and her stomach and stuff like that. And people licked it off. I licked it off her tits, stuff like that, fun things like that. So it was interesting stuff. I wasn't seeing anybody at that time, so it's not a big deal. At my bachelor party, we went to a strip club where I didn't have any connection with nobody, no lap dances or anything like that. I just watched people strip. That's all. That was just what I did. But as I said, it's something that happens. So this was just weird that you would think that she would know her brother's getting married and is probably going to have a bachelor party pretty soon, and maybe knows his friends. And the person who hired her, she probably might recognize the name or might recognize the address if she wasn't involved with that. So it kind of gets me to think that maybe she did it deliberately, either she claims accidentally. But it's weird and it's funny, and I thought it was something interesting to mention on my show. Let's do some science stuff now. Here's the story I was talking about before I got off pace again. I think I talked about the story a couple weeks ago. I don't think I really went into much detail about it, but they actually had a picture of it this time. And I think it's the same thing. I don't remember. It's one of the things that it sounded familiar, but I wasn't sure, but it showed up on my feed again. But a super rare German cannon was found in a something pitcher's mound. A pitcher's mound. So a pitcher's mound had a giant German cannon buried in it. And that's just weird to know that people were pitching on top of a massive old school German cannon and didn't discover until I guess they were refurbishing the field or something like that. So kind of interesting little story about that. Scientists have created Ice-19, which is a new state of matter. Again, didn't go into much detail because the science ones that do this stuff, they get into a lot of detail. I'm like, huh? Because I'm not a science guy. But that's kind of interesting thing that a new state of matter called Ice-19 appeared. So that's kind of neat. Something else that's new that I don't think is ever really, I guess maybe it happens more often than I think it was, but I've never heard this before. A brand new a brand new meteor shower is occurring this weekend. I think it starts tomorrow. No, it might be Monday into Tuesday. I think it's the 31st, they said. But apparently there is a comet, and I guess this makes sense because, most meteor showers tend to be Earth going through the tail of a comet because comets orbit the sun just like the planets do. And this is what happens. So comets, you might not always be able to see them, but they do orbit and they're big and they're massive. So they have massive tails, which, shoots off, comets are generally giant ice balls. And so as they're getting close to the sun, the ice starts breaking off of it and pops off into rock forms, and it goes through the tail. And that's what causes, the tail is made up of these pieces of the comet that have been melted off of the rock, but are still fairly solid, dissipating like that. And so basically the comet goes and the tail sort of stays behind it. And then the Earth rotates through the tail, and that's where you get the asteroids from. And so since comets then circle the sun and they're like, excuse me, they're melted down, but not fully because they're big. And then they come back out to the outer reaches of space where they freeze again, and the whole thing starts over again. So that's what meteor showers tend to be, is the Earth going through comet tails. And that's the bits from the comet that are burned off are in the tail, and that's what causes the asteroids. So this new meteor shower has been discovered because a comet actually was destroyed. And so that probably means that it's maybe a one-off, maybe see it again. Who knows? But who knows? So right now, but a brand new meteor shower was discovered by scientists, and I believe it's supposed to be May 30th to the 31st. So keep an eye out for that. You can probably just look up meteor shower May, and you'll probably see the story come up about that as well. Now, I know I've told this story before, but this is an update on it. This is a while back, I think, maybe been a year or so ago. It was announced that they discovered that there's a type of shark that can survive in magma and boiling volcanic matter and stuff like that. There's actual photographs, not Photoshop, whatever. These are real photographs of a sharks, I should say, multiple, swimming around in hot lava magma. And they're surviving. They're fine. So it's a mutation of a shark that's able to survive in there. Well, the volcano that these sharks were filmed in, swimming around in the magma, liquid magma, erupted. Now, I don't know if that means that they ejected the sharks, or if the sharks died, or if they found a way out before it happened, or if they got out, are they going to survive? Can they survive in regular ocean water? Don't know. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. So the shark volcano, the Sharknado volcano, Sharkano, I guess, has erupted. So no word on if sharks are flying out or killed or whatever, but that volcano where they were spotted swimming around has erupted. So don't know what's going on with that. Finally, science for this page, and then I've got 2.5 pages still. It's like a ways to go, and it's an hour in. So probably not going to be done until 2:00. Yeehaw. Arctic explorer Rowan Atkinson's ship has been raised to the surface. So it took a few years, I think they said, to raise to the surface. So now they actually have it. They're going to do their scientific and historic look at it, and it's going to be nice and cool. Now, this week also, we had Star Wars Celebration. They announced a bunch of stuff. Apparently, the new big thing now in streaming is to make video game TV shows and movies. Halo has been doing very well for Paramount Plus. We've got the Twisted Metal show, which I've been telling you about the casting over the last few weeks, is underway, being filmed right now. Well, they announced 3 new ones this week. Horizon series, which I don't know much about, is going to be on Netflix as a TV series. God of War, featuring Kratos as the God of War, TV shows in the works for Amazon Plus. Dave Bautista is rumored to be the front runner for the role, and that would be absolutely phenomenal because he looks the part of it. And I know it's here somewhere. I'll find eventually. But Gran Turismo is another. There it is. Neil Blomkamp, who directed like District 47, I think, stuff like that, or District 14 or 12 or whatever that science fiction type movie was. He is being tapped to direct the Gran Turismo movie. So there is going to be a movie version of that. So those 3 video games have been announced for movies and series on your streaming services. So that's like apparently the next big thing. There's a Gears of War one is also coming out that Felicia Day shown some interest in as well. I mentioned that a couple weeks ago as well. I'm not going to get to that just yet. Big news on the casting front. Jodie Foster, who hasn't really been heard from for a while, she's sort of taking a well-deserved vacation. She's been directing some here and there, but hasn't really been acting too much. Well, that's going to change here, and it's going to be huge because she's probably going to get nominated for all the Emmys when it comes out. But HBO Max has had a series that has come out periodically called True Detectives. The first one had Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey and was outstanding, won all the Emmys and stuff like that. And then the other previous seasons haven't been as good, but are still pretty good. I think Vince Vaughn was in the second one as well. So they tend to get like a big actor, actress, whatever, to have a role in this. And the writing is usually top notch and stuff like that. And for HBO Max, so they can go a little overboard if they want to. But Jodie Foster has now been cast in the new season of True Detective, which is now called Night County. So after Kate Winslet's turn as a police detective in recent shows, Jodie Foster's going to do her thing and see if she can get it done. So that's good for her. It'd be nice to see her do stuff. Pauly Shore, who last week I told you is trying to push a Biodome sequel with him and Stephen Baldwin going to Mars, is back at it again this week. So he really wants to get back in the spotlight, I guess. But this one might actually be a bit more feasible because it's where Biodome is a cult film. This next film that they want to do a revisit to, I think was fairly successful because it had a really good cast in it. Pauly Shore has said that he is trying to get Disney Plus to create either a series or a follow-up movie for his film Encino Man. Now, if you know what Encino Man's about, it stars Brendan Fraser, who everybody loves and is having a little bit of a mini comeback on his own right now, as a caveman who is discovered in California and is defrosted and is taken in by Pauly Shore's Valley Guy sort of thing, and Sean Astin's character, and try to get the caveman to acclimate to life in I think it's 1990s California. And it was fairly successful with a really good cast. And so Pauly Shore's like as asking Disney Plus is, I think the time is now right for a Encino Man series or movie. Brendan Fraser's back, in everyone's good graces now. Sean Astin's never really gone anywhere. Has popped up in a lot of different things and might be interested in reprising his role as well. And I don't know what you would do for a sequel or series or whatever, but if you can get them all back together, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's out there as well. Another name you probably haven't heard in a long time, might even know who this is, Renny Harlin. Renny Harlin was a big-time director. Well, not big-time, but he directed Die Hard 2, and Cliffhanger was the other big one that he did. So late 80s, early 90s director, was big into action flicks. He ended up marrying Gina Davis. I think he directed her in Long Kiss Goodnight, and that did okay, but it wasn't great. And then what sunk him was him and Gina Davis decided to do a pirate movie before pirate movies were cool back in the early 90s called Cutthroat Island. And it got savaged, and it basically bankrupted Carolco. And Renny Harlin has never really been able to live that down. So I think he's popped up periodically directing TV shows and stuff like that. But he hasn't made any movies in a while that I can think of. Let me look up just to verify that I'm not talking out of my ass here. But I knew Renny Harlin. I liked a lot of stuff that he did. He's a Finnish director. His films include Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, Long Kiss Goodnight, and Deep Blue Sea. So he did Deep Blue Sea. So he's done some good stuff, but Cutthroat Island was the one that really killed him. As I said, he was married to Gina Davis, where I don't think he's married anymore. He was married to actress Gina Davis from 1993 to 1998. Harlan was unfaithful to Davis, and she filed for divorce shortly after her personal secretary, Tiffany Brown, gave birth to Harlan's child. So let's see. Films. Born, Married, Prison, Die Hard, Man, Blame Rose, Cliffhanger, Speechless, which isn't. He didn't direct Speechless. He was a producer, that's right. Cutthroat Island, yep. Long Kiss Goodnight, Deep Blue Sea. Driven, he did in 2001. He was he directed episodes of Mindhunters. 12 Rounds was a Bruce Willis film, I think, or John Cena film or something like that. Yeah, so he hasn't really. He's been working pretty much, consistently, but he. I think he's done some TV too. Where he did some Mrs. Burn Notice, White Collar, Covert Affairs, and Graceland. So the last time working television was 2013. He's done some stuff lately, but he hasn't really had any major hits since that string where he had all those big hits in the late 80s, early 90s. He's back with a movie called Bricklayer. First trailer for that came out. I didn't watch it because it just didn't look interesting to me. Aaron Eckhart and Nina Dobrev in it. So, but still interesting to see Renny Harlin's name, which I hadn't seen in a really long time, to do that. Now, those who've been watching the show also for a while know that I auditioned for a role in the TV show that's filming presently in Baltimore called Lady in the Lake, based on the crime novel, and starred Natalie Portman and Lupita Nyong'o. Well, Lupita Nyong'o has decided to leave the show. I don't know why. No one announced why she did, but she's no longer a part of the show, so now they have to recast it. So they're probably going to have to stop filming for a little bit, or film more of Natalie's stuff, and then have to film whoever's taking Lupita's place later on. But it's interesting to see that they're having some troubles already. Maybe if they would have cast me, it wouldn't have been an issue, but that's besides the point. Anyway, Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's Tale, and her book has been part of the banning books and the book burnings down in the illiterate, stupid-ass motherfucking South. Idiot, moron, shitface, dickheads, dumbasses have been burning books and shit like that. Nazi bastards. She has created, and it's been one of her Handmaid's Tale is one of the books that they've been banning and burning. Well, she created a version of the book that could not be burned. I don't know exactly how it worked, but she made an unburnable copy of, copies, I should say, multiple copies of The Handmaid's Tale, so it cannot be burned now. So good on her for that. That's really cool. I got a lot of good stuff on this page here. A Japanese man spends $15,791 to look like a dog. I don't have anything more to say about that. That's a weird one. Some Euphoria news, kind of. Alana, can't see what her last name is, but Alana Uberek or something like that from Euphoria has joined the TED TV show. I hate Seth MacFarlane and I hate everything about him, but I guess Ted is popular enough that it's getting a TV show. But she has joined the cast of that. Sydney Sweeney, hottie from Euphoria, also got a kind of weird endorsement from her grandparents. Her grandparents said in an article that Sydney Sweeney's tits, they use the word tits, are the best tits in Hollywood. Her grandparents said Sydney Sweeney's tits are the best in Hollywood. And I've seen pictures of Sydney Sweeney. I haven't seen Euphoria, and I think she does show her tits. But let's see if I can get, I'm not going to get any pictures of her tits, but let's see if we can get some Sydney Sweeney pictures up here. Let's find out the best picture of her, but there you go. There's a pretty nice tits, right? Okay, we're not going to go into this, go down this rabbit hole very much here. And here's another shot of them real quick, and then we're going to move on. All right, so, but that's the weirdest thing is that her grandparents said she's got the best tits in Hollywood. I was like, okay, that's a little odd, but all right, if you say so. I wouldn't mind seeing them. What? Anyway, moving on. The Night Court reboot, which I think is due to come out this fall. I think it was automatically taken to series, so it'll be part of the fall lineup for NBC probably. They revealed the first look at the cast in it, and there's old gray and John Larroquette, looking John Larroquette-ish and probably outstanding, and then the woman from Big Bang Theory who's in it also. She's in there, and we also get a view of some of the other cast members. So it looks like they've got themselves. They're trying to revisit the successful Night Court. They've got a female black police officer in there, which they also have in this one as well. It looks like one of the other, either the prosecutor or, well, he's the prosecutor, but the defense attorney or the guy who's doing the MAC role, which is the one that comes to the judge and gives her the folders. It looks like to be played by a Middle Eastern guy, which looks cool. And then, of course, the judge is Harry Anderson's character's daughter, played by I forget her name, Bernice, I think, was a character in Big Bang Theory. She's playing that. And then there was another female in there for another reason, whatever. But it looks like Night Court to me. It looks like they're going to get back to that sort of thing. So good on that as well. Westworld from HBO Max was a hugely popular series. And right before COVID, it was one of the top HBO series, and then it sort of disappeared due to COVID, so it hasn't been seen for a few years now. Well, it looks like season 4 is going to be rolling through here this fall. The first trailer came out for it, so those who've been waiting for Westworld season 4, your wait is probably over here, coming up later this year, so it's good on that. Also, the Wednesday Netflix show, which is Tim Burton's reboot of the Addams Family. Basically, Wednesday is going to be the first stepping stone into the Addams Family reboot that Tim Burton's doing. But Tim Burton is only directing, I think, the first episode of Wednesday. And then he's producing and written and wrote the rest of them. And it's going to be Wednesday Addams as like a amateur detective solving crimes and stuff like that. And then that's going to segue, I think, into Tim Burton is going to be directing every episode of an Addams Family reboot, starring the same characters that are introduced in the Wednesday series. So it's like a sequel to Wednesday, but it's going to focus more on the whole family instead of just Wednesday. I think that's how it's working out there. But regardless, we're going to get our first views of Wednesday sooner than later because the series is due to debut on Netflix in fall of 2022. They don't have a date yet. I would assume somewhere around Halloween would make the most sense, obviously. But another thing that came out of that is Danny Elfman, who I absolutely love and works with Tim Burton all the time, will be scoring every episode of Wednesday. So that should be pretty cool to see that and him doing a weekly series like that. Or I guess Netflix dumps everything at one time. So we'll see. I would assume we're probably going to see it probably close to Halloween, but we should be seeing, as I said, a trailer for this probably very soon because they just announced it this week that that's what's going to happen. So I would assume that the way it goes is you announce it and then you reveal it. Now, here's the other funny thing that just came through my head right here is a couple weeks ago on the show, I announced that the Rob Zombie family G-rated Monsters reboot, which is weird for him anyway, but still it's kind of cool. I want to see what a G-rated Rob Zombie looks like. His Monsters reboot movie, not series, I think it's a reboot movie, is being eyed by Netflix as well. So you can get that Addams Family Monsters sort of competition again if you release both of them around the same time, because I think that one's going to be released this fall also around Halloween again would make sense. So you could have sort of another sort of, Monsters Addams Family sort of competition like they had back in the 60s, which I think is kind of cool if that's how it's going to work out. So we'll see if that's how it turns out, but that's kind of neat that's happening. So keep your eyes on that. That's pretty cool. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, the fantastic alternate reality film, is A24's highest grossing movie in U.S. history. Granted, A24 really hasn't been around all that long, but it did have the Adam Sandler movie that didn't do very well. It did well enough, but it didn't do well enough when it comes to money-wise. But Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is the highest grossing food movie that they've done in the U.S. Obviously, they've only been around since like 2020 is the first time I heard of them. So it's only been a few years, but still over a 2-3 year period, this is the highest grossing film of all time for them. That's outstanding. Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, will be appearing digitally and probably on Disney Plus on June 22nd. And we'll be getting a Blu-ray release on July 26th. So for those who want to wait till it shows up on Disney Plus, looks like you only have to wait till June 22nd. Now that works out perfectly because I might rewatch that again during my time away, when my family's away at camp and I'm going to do these movie things. So I might rewatch that again as well. Rowan Atkinson released a trailer this week for his new project that's going to be on Netflix called Man vs. Bee. And it's exactly what you think it is. It's a series about a stressed out guy played by Rowan Atkinson who goes to war against a bee. I've seen bits of the trailer. I haven't watched the full trailer yet, but I've seen bits of the trailer. And there's a shot where he burns down the house to try to kill, burns down this house to try to kill the bee. So they apparently are enough to make it into a series. They've got enough storyline to do it. So, and it's Rowan Atkinson, so you can't go wrong with that. So I might have to check out the trailer on the end. So that'll be coming to Netflix also very soon. Probably more along the lines of the summer, I think, because that seems more like a summer sort of series. Bees outdoor. You're going to be going to war with them in the next few months anyway. So it would make sense to have them there. Jack Osborne and Jay Muse of Ghost Hunters, and Jack Osborne did his own supernatural sort of show where he went on the road and I think it was like Road 666 or something like that and investigate supernatural activity. They're teaming up to take on Bigfoot. So they'll be doing a Hunt for Bigfoot in the new Discovery Plus series. The two of them together seems kind of interesting, and to have Jay Muse get away from his ghosting world and joining up with Jack Osborne, who's used to that sort of supernatural stuff, should be interesting to see how a ghost investigator uses his ability to track a Bigfoot instead. So that'd be kind of interesting as well. Doogie Kamakahalia, MD, which was the Hawaiian female update of Doogie Howser, which they mentioned is similar to Doogie. I think Doogie Howser's a TV show, and that she is the Doogie Howser. Is getting a second season from Disney Plus, so that's good. When it's really hard, sometimes even get a second or third season out of these streaming services, that it's getting a second season is a good sign that it's doing really well. So good on that. Ellen DeGeneres, her show, she did her final episode of her show. She signed off this week as well, under a lot of stuff that has come out of the last few years about the toxic workplace that she sets up. It's taken enough time. She's been doing this for years now, plus since like the 20th century, probably she's been doing this, maybe not that long, but majority of the 21st century she's had her show, and it's been up and down, but the last few years it hasn't been as good because of the toxic environment that a lot of the workers have been complaining about over this lately. It's always interesting every year when new stuff gets released to the public record, not the public record, but where the copyright has been waived and no copyright has been redone. So the public something or other, I can't think of it right now. But every year they have a release of new books and songs and public domain. That's what it is, that have been released into the public domain, which means that you can use them without having to pay a copyright. So this year, one of those that went into the public domain was Winnie the Pooh, not the Disney version. That's still under Disney control, their Disney version, but the A.A. Milne actual book, Winnie the Pooh series, has had its copyright waived and is now in the public domain. So now people can do whatever they want to that Winnie the Pooh, the A.A. Milne stuff, not the Disney stuff. So they can't do a Disney version without having to pay Disney for the rights to do their Winnie the Pooh. This is the actual Winnie the Pooh from A.A. Milne. So you can, if you want to, you can grab a copy of it and you can make your own Winnie the Pooh movie, cartoon. You can make music about Winnie the Pooh, and you don't have to pay anything to anybody about it. So because in the public domain, it means anybody can do anything. Well, of course, you've got the weirdos, and a horror director decided he wanted to make a Winnie the Pooh horror film called Blood and Honey. So since it's in public domain, he went ahead and he has made a slasher film, cheap slasher film, with a killer who's dressed as Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, who go after big-breasted women and promiscuous women and stuff like that. It's called Blood and Honey. So it's public domain. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it now. So there you go. It's the time for graduations are rolling through here. Some have already graduated. A lot of college graduations happened last weekend. Some are happening this weekend. Naval Academy graduated yesterday. All kinds of and then high school graduations are probably gonna be rolling through here in the next week or so. So it's graduation season. Here's a weird little story. An Ohio teen graduated college before she graduated high school. Now, it took me a while to think about that, but yeah, that makes sense because I graduated high school in June 5th, 1991. I graduated college May 21st, something like that, May 20th, May 22nd, maybe somewhere around there, 1995. So it was a month before. I mean, it's not the same year, obviously, but you graduate college usually a few weeks before you'd graduate from high school. So if this woman was taking both college courses and high school courses at the same time, which I guess you can, if you've done AP stuff and you decide you're smart, but you want to stay in high school, but you also stay in college as well, and you stay there for 4 years and you get all the stuff ready, you can conceivably, if you finish at the same time, it's a 4-year college, 4-year high school. If you finish simultaneously, college would be the first one to graduate before high school does, because high school, as I said, doesn't graduate till June, and college graduates in May. So she probably graduated college in May and then spent the last few weeks of her high school career at high school and then graduated high school. And now she didn't need to go to college because she's already got her college degree, so she can go and do master's or doctorate or go to work now. It's up to her. But that's just kind of a interesting kind of story and kind of weird, but still kind of interesting. It's Sunday now. It's 1:15 a.m. on 5/29/2022. But again, it's a 3-day weekend. So even if I don't go to bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning tonight, I can sleep in tomorrow and still have another day off after that. The way this is going, I'll probably finish around probably 2 o'clock. Anyway, maybe actually close to 1:45, I should say. Anyway, 1 week from Saturday, yesterday, let's just say yesterday, and we could say 1 week from today, regardless. But June 4th, next weekend, next Saturday, it was announced this week that Fortnite, game that I like to play with my son, Chapter 3, Season 2, will be having its live event that ends the season on Saturday, June 4th at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So when you have a live event, it puts a capper on that 3-month season. And then the servers go offline after a crazy thing happens. Like when we had the live event from Chapter 2, Season 8 to Chapter 3, Season 1, the Fortnite island turned upside down, and then we were lost at sea for 24 hours, it seemed like. Actually, less than that. It was probably 12 hours as Fortnite was down and stuff like that. And then when Fortnite came back up, you would come in and then see Chapter 3, Season 1 would start. You get a new island, new battle pass, new storyline, stuff like that. So that's one of the cool things about Fortnite. And it's a 3-month period. Now, they didn't do a live event to end Chapter 3, Season 1 because Chapter 3, Season 2 is a war season. Each season has a theme. This was a war season, and they were originally going to have a live event which had a war breaking out, but a literal real war between Ukraine and Russia broke out around the same time that Season 3 or Chapter 3, Season 1 ended. So they decided to err on the side of caution and said, we're not going to do a live event, even though we want to, because it's a war season coming up and we don't want to, be connected with the Russia-Ukraine thing. So then they just shut down the servers for like 12 hours, and then they came back on with new island, new everything. And so we got the idea of the story from trailer, stuff like that. This time they're going to do an actual trailer. They're do an actual live event. It's going to be the theme is called Collision. And it's going to be amazing like they always are. And then again, the servers will go down for about 12 hours, and then they'll come back up on Sunday, June 5th. So 1 week from today now, we will get the new season of Fortnite, Chapter 3, Season 3. So we'll see what happens with that. Weird Al Yankovic's getting a sort of a comeback here. He gets a shout out in the new Stranger Things season that dropped this week as well. He's going to be having a movie where Daniel Radcliffe plays him coming out probably this fall. And now he's getting a graphic novel called The Illustrated Owl from Z2 Comics. Never heard of that comic company, but they are releasing a Weird Al graphic novel. So that's kind of cool. Stephen King is writing a sequel to one of his lesser-known books, Cujo, about the dog with rabies, and it's called Rattlesnakes, which doesn't make much sense, but he says it's a sequel to Cujo, and that's going to be coming out here really soon, very soon, too. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial ended on Friday with deliberations now by the jury. That's going on over the weekend. We'll probably have the result of the case and what's going to happen with that probably sometime in the next week or so. So we'll probably mention this on next week's show, what the turnout seems to be. But because of it, Johnny Depp is starting to get back into the good graces of Hollywood and filmmakers and film fans now. And the newest rumor now, this rumor has been going, the rumor that there was going to be a Beetlejuice 2 has been going out there forever. And when Winona Ryder got a boost in her career with her appearance on the Stranger Things show, rumors continue to surge that Michael Keaton is still one of the best loved actors in Hollywood. And Tim Burton, he's dabbling in Addams Family stuff, but he still might have an itch to do a Beetlejuice 2. Don't know, or they'll get someone else to direct it. But the newest rumor now has Beetlejuice 2 will have Winona Ryder in it as a grown-up Lydia, probably dealing with her own ghost stuff. And could Johnny Depp be cast in the movie as well, either as a different ghost, the villain, a love interest for Lydia, her husband, love interest, whatever. And the interesting about that is the two of them used to date. They were together in Edward Scissorhands, and they did a bunch of other stuff, but they broke up. I think they were only together for like 5 years, but they were together for a while. And I think they're still fairly close. I mean, they didn't have kids or anything together, but I think they're still friendly. And she's been protecting him in the public eye during this defamation trial, saying that he never beat me, never showed any signs of any abuse towards me, was nothing but a loving, caring sort of soul. We just broke up because people break up, that's just the way it is. But it would make sense, and particularly if you can get Tim Burton come back to direct it, to get Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder to reteam after doing Edward Scissorhands in a Tim Burton film, to finally reunite for another Tim Burton film. Because that's why they brought Johnny Depp in, because he was Tim Burton's muse for the longest time, and then he's made a couple movies now without him. But we'll see what happens. Would still be interesting. I kind of like that idea, though. Women, moms who swear make the best parents. Nothing about dads who swear, but moms who swear make the best parents. So good on you for that, you guys. Van Leeuwen has created a Grey Poupon ice cream with pretzel bits in it, and I think that's absolutely disgusting because I hate mustard anyway, but to have a salty, mustardy, pretzel-y ice cream just sounds disgusting to me. Kevin Spacey, who was trying to make his way back to Hollywood, is probably not going to now because he was charged with 4 counts of sexual assault in the UK. I guess not recently. I think there was stuff that came out during his period where he was sort of going crazy years ago. So that's come out now. Warner Brothers Discovery, the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, is a little peeved at J.J. Abrams. Now, back when HBO Max debuted, J.J. Abrams said that his Bad Robot production company has picked up the rights to make a bunch of TV shows based on DC characters, Justice League Dark and Constantine, and there's a few other ones as well. And people were excited about it, and the Green Lantern one is not. I don't think he's involved with that one, but that one is currently being cast. But it might be filming. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, but they were announced and then nothing. So once Warner Brothers was bought by Discovery, the CEO was sort of like, okay, we paid this guy and his production company a lot of money and we've seen nothing from him. We need to start seeing stuff from him. So they're starting to put the pins to him a little bit. So we'll see if that's going to, because I would love to see a Justice League Dark series. Absolutely would love to see that. Did Vikings host rituals around stopping Ragnarok in a volcanic cave in Iceland? There's been some proof that's been dug up recently that is indeed the case. So that's pretty cool about that. A medieval sword from the War of the Two Peters was unearthed in a Spanish castle. Don't know much about the War of the Two Peters. I'm a history major, but more of American history. I don't know much about world history. The world history I've learned in my various high school and college years has always been almost a failure, either with not good teachers or no real interest in me. I don't know. Interest from me. I don't know, whatever. So here we are, an hour and 38 minutes into the show, and I haven't even discussed why I named the episode The Minecraft Streamer's Friend. I'm about ready to right now. So, flashback. I graduated high school, I told you, June 5th, 1991. I remember that distinctly because my dad's birthday is on June 5th. So I graduated, so it was, let's see, he was born in 47, 57, 67, 77, 87. So he was 44 years old. He was 44 years old, 4 years younger than I am now when I graduated from high school. And I graduated on his birthday, his 44th birthday. So that's pretty cool. During my high school years, I was, for middle school was worse, but for 2 years in high school, I was bullied. And I stood up to my bully, and I told you this story a million times, so I'm not going to go into any more depth about that. I stood up to my bully, and he stopped bullying me. So the remaining 2 years were a little bit better, but still the damage was done, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. I didn't really have any romantic inclinations. There were people I liked, that I was obsessed with, but I never had the balls to ask them out. And I played badminton, and I was in theater, so I was doing stuff. So I got myself together, but it was kind of not really a lonely thing, but I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. And a lot of the people I knew that I had gone through elementary and middle school and into high school with, even some of my new high school peers, we weren't like really, really close friends. But the one guy who I can say was probably my best friend in high school, even though we didn't really hang out all that much. But whenever we were in a lot of the same classes together, and we hung out a lot, and ate lunch together and stuff like that. So we did, stuff like that, was my friend Andy Bell. And as I said, we weren't like the bestest friends. We didn't hang out and all that much, but we were, when we were in school together, we were around each other a lot. So I considered him to probably be my best friend in high school. And after high school, he went to Towson University, I believe, and I went to Albright College. And again, this was before social media, so we sort of lost track of each other and stuff like that. And then when social media started coming back in to play, one of the first people I befriended was a woman by the name of Joanna Franklin. And I found this out later on, that Joanna had a huge crush on me through high school, and I never really noticed. I kind of wish I did. Would have been fun to have someone that truly liked me as well. But that's the story for another time. Anyway, we reconnected, and I found out that she had married Andy Bell. Now, they were, at this time when we reconnected, she was divorced from him, but they had, I think they had 2 kids together. And so Andy's still in her life, obviously. It just didn't work out marriage-wise, but they were still friends, and they were still co-parenting their kids. And Joanne ended up marrying somebody else, and Andy married someone else. But they are still close together. Now, I reconnected with Andy then over social media as well. And then I remember his brother, Rick, who was around the same age as my sister, knew my sister. He had a fantasy baseball league, and I played in that for 1 year, but it just wasn't the same as the other ones I've been playing. And so I lost interest in it, and they sort of kicked me out of the group anyway. But that's besides the point. But I remember we went to Rick's house, I believe. It was Rick's house. It might have been Andy's house, because I think Joanne might have been there. I don't know. It might have been Rick's. I don't know. But it might have been Andy's house, actually. I think it was Andy's house where we did the draft and stuff like that. So, and then that was really all. And I hadn't really heard much from him. He didn't really do much on Facebook, but I knew he was always kind of out there. So I didn't really, think much about it. So flash forward to about, I guess, Wednesday. I guess that would be the 25th, Geek Pride Day. And I see a post from him on my Facebook page. I hadn't heard from him for a while, so I clicked on it and read it. Apparently, what he's been doing since, I think he said 2013, might have been shorter than that, longer than that, whatever, is he's been obsessed with the game Minecraft, which is a hugely popular game now. My son plays it, my daughter played it, and it's a creative building sort of farming sort of game, and it's a huge. Everybody knows Minecraft. You say Minecraft, you know what they mean. And apparently he has been streaming his Minecraft games on Twitch, or his Minecraft stuff on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'd never seen anything like that before, but I think what Andy decided to do was he didn't really I didn't really look for it, and he didn't really post as much, I guess, or I never really noticed it, or when I saw it, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I just scrolled past it just being another streamer, didn't know that it was Andy. And in his long post he did on Facebook, he was talking about that he had just gotten his 10,000th subscriber to his Minecraft server under the name of Shocktor. That's his gamer name for the Minecraft stuff. His streamer name, I should say, is Shocktor. Shocktor. For those who want to know, he's on Facebook, he's on Twitter, he's on YouTube, and he's on Twitch. So just type in Shocktor and you'll be able to find his page on YouTube and stuff like that. So go ahead, join that stuff if you're into Minecraft stuff. He has created 3 servers of Minecraft that are free. So if anybody wants to play Minecraft, you're allowed to go in. Obviously, you got to follow the rules and stuff like that. You're going to get banned. He's got moderators watching. So he's got like a team of moderators, and his setup is outstanding. He's got the typical streamer sort of setup. He's got the massive computer screen. He's got the special headphones. He's got the multiple screens. He's got the crazy lights in the background. And he's got the chat, and he posts the chat from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch when he's doing live streams. They're all coming in live, and so I decided, hey, this is kind of cool that he was this Shocktor guy, and my son played Minecraft. I know a little bit about Minecraft, but I was just kind of neat. I wanted to see kind of what he was doing. Let's see, is he on now? I don't think he's on. I think he did a long thing yesterday, but so it's kind of interesting to see that. So last night he was doing a live stream, so I figured I'd watch it for a little bit just to see, now that I knew it was Andy, to just sort of hang out and see what he did. And I entered the chat and it popped up on there. He's like, hey, Dylan, I haven't heard from you in a long time. And he answers everybody on this chat. So he talked to me a little bit and I responded in the chat and stuff like that. We talked about the Orioles and stuff like that while he was doing Minecraft and talking to his other people. And he wasn't just focused on me, but he was always there to talk to somebody on the chat. So whenever somebody made a comment, he would respond to them. Whenever they liked it or subscribed or whatever, he would thank them. So and his lights are cool. If you go in the chat and you type exclamation point and then a color, the lights would change behind him. So it's kind of cool. So I just sat in there and watched that for like an hour and a half. And it was fascinating just to see him. And we had a conversation like that. So it was about 2 a.m. when I was getting tired of watching, just because I was not tired of it, but tired. I went to sleep. So I said farewell, and he's like, yeah, take care, and I'll see you around, stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. So I figured I'd mention him on my show. Obviously, he's not going to know that I mentioned him unless I tell him, hey, guess what? Watch this episode of Dylan Knows. Go around the 140 mark, and you'll see that I mentioned you. But Shocktor is his name, Shocktor. Type that into your YouTube. You'll be able to find his videos. Subscribe to him. Go to Facebook. You type in Shocktor. You'll be able to add, subscribe to his Facebook page. If you're into Minecraft stuff, and if you're on Twitch, go ahead and check that out also. As I said, his servers are open to everybody. You just got to follow the rules. And he gives away free stuff all the time to people who are on there. And he's got everything. He's got tip jars. He gives away stuff. He's got moderators. He's got 3 servers. He's working on a 4th one. This is like a big deal. And he probably, with 10,000 subscribers, he's probably starting to make a little bit of bank here. So very kind of professional, very cool looking. So I still consider him one of my best friends from high school. As obviously we haven't really discussed much, but the fact that when I commented and liked it, he's like, oh, hey man, and we had a conversation, like just normal people, talked about, the Orioles and my cat and my kids and family and all this stuff. And, also, as I said, entertaining everybody else that was doing his chat and feed as well. So damn, I'm really talking here. I still got a page and a half to go. So I might have to start breezing through this stuff. So it's really weird. Certain days, sometimes you feel more invigorated and energized than others. So we'll see what happens. But let's roll through here. So the first full trailer for The Gray Man popped up. It's the new Netflix movie coming out July 22nd, directed by the Russo brothers, who did Captain America: Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. It stars Ryan Gosling. Chris Evans is the bad guy. Anna de Amaris, who worked with Chris Evans in Knives Out, and also has Billy Bob Thornton in it as well. and Alfre Woodard. First trailer came out. It looks action-packed. It looks like what you expect from the directors of Winter Soldier and Civil War. So it looks action-packed. The premise is that Ryan Gosling is like a cleanup guy for the government or whatever, goes into high-pressure situations and cleans up and kills, bad guys and stuff like that. And Chris Evans is the bad guy who wants to take out this guy, so he sort of does like pulls a John Wick and sends a huge bounty on him, and everybody goes after him, and then they end up having a fight at the end. And Degeneres appears to be Ryan Gosling's like partner in all this, so we'll see what happens with that. DC's Stargirl TV show, one of the few ones that CW did not cancel, but is not on the fall schedule to be out in the spring probably, has cast Seth Green in a role. Seth is a good actor. I haven't seen him for a while. It's good to see him coming back into the world of acting again. I forgot when I was doing my research for this week's show, I forgot that earlier this week we had quite the present on Monday night with the new Thor Love and Thunder trailer was released this week. Much more bigger look at the storyline. We get to see Christian Bale's villain. We get to see more of Jane Foster as Thor as well, and see her interactions with Chris Hemsworth. We get to see Russell Crowe's Zeus for the first time up front and everything like that. We see, some funny stuff. We see some stuff, heavy stuff, some action stuff, some just wild stuff. It looks like it's going to be a wild ride, and some more Valkyrie stuff. So it looks like it's good. It was outstanding, and I can't wait for it to come out. Sonic 3 movie and a Knuckles spin-off TV series have been greenlit due to Sonic making a good amount of money, both 1 and 2, and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. The day before Fortnite has its live event, June 4th on June 3rd, Pac-Man will be coming to the Fortnite island, but not in the way you think it is. As of now, the rumor is that it will not be a skin. Instead, it'll be like outfits and back bling and stuff like that are Pac-Man oriented that you can buy and put on your character. So that's coming up. I didn't know Tubi was still in existence, but apparently it is. They have a Terror Train remake coming to Tubi this October. Terror Train, for those that don't know, was continue the Jamie Lee Curtis foray into horror, where it was like a high school prom was on a train, and people started getting killed on the train, so they had to figure out who the murderer was. It was like a slasher sort of film. Came out after Halloween, stuff like that. Samuel L. Jackson has been cast in the animated Garfield film along with Chris Pratt. So it should be interesting to see who he's going to play. I think Chris Pratt's going to be playing Garfield, but it'd be interesting to see who Samuel L. Jackson would play. It'd be funny if he played John. That'd be really funny to see that. Jurassic World Tricks Tracks with Marshmallow Cereal is out with the coming arrival of Jurassic World. I think it's the 10th or the 12th of June, one of those two. It's going to be coming up really soon. It's rolling through here in a little bit. The Blue Beetle movie for HBO Max revealed the first costume. It is a comic accurate costume. And there was also a rumor that Jason Sudeikis from Ted Lasso was going to be Ted Cord. That rumor has been shot down, so that's interesting. But the first Blue Beetle costume shot has come out. It's a pretty nice looking one. Mountain Dew Typhoon, which is a old flavor of Mountain Dew, which is a tropical punch sort of flavor, is being re-released this summer, but you can only get it through the Mountain Dew website. But again, you can only get the Flaming Hot Mountain Dew through their website as well. And now you can get it out into the grocery store. So I assume that Typhoon will follow something maybe next summer. We'll see that in stores. A Johns Hopkins student, Johns Hopkins, the creme de la creme of colleges, one of the big top 10 colleges in the country, right down the street here in Baltimore. My mom used to work for it, stuff like that. A student at Johns Hopkins has created edible tape that can be used to keep your burrito closed. See, Johns Hopkins isn't all about medical doctors and stuff like that. You also learn how to create edible tape for your burrito. So you go, Johns Hopkins. Celeste O'Connor from Ghostbusters Afterlife has joined the cast of Sony's Madam Web. Don't know what role again, so we'll see what happens like that. This year is also the 40th anniversary of John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. Wasn't a huge hit at the time when it came out, but has become a massive hit afterwards. Well, it's the 40th anniversary of it. It is being re-released into theaters this summer, so maybe it'll make some of its money back through this now, so that'd be kind of cool. So if you want to see The Thing in the movie theaters, you've never been able to before, now you'll be able to. The Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, Man from Toronto action comedy Netflix film will be coming June 24th. It's about a sales associate played by Kevin Hart who runs into a assassin played by Woody Harrelson, who's known only as the Man from Toronto, and the two have to work together to survive crossing the border into the United States, something like that, after being chased, I guess, by other people who wants to kill them. We talked about how J.J. Abrams is getting a little thumb screwed or pressured by the new CEO of Warner Brothers to bring about some content. Well, he keeps adding stuff he has to do. Apple Plus has hired him to create a Speed Racer series. Now, Speed Racer series sounds like a great idea, but to add to J.J. Abrams' plate, you're probably not going to see it now unless he really starts getting his act together, because he's got a ton of stuff he's already contracted to do for HBO Max, and now you want him to do this. So this might not be out for a little while, or he might have to really, if he wants it to come out on time, he might just have to be nothing but a periphery guy and put the right group in there and have them start working on it. Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong, who had a recurring role on That 70s Show, is now going to have a role on the spinoff of that called That 90s Show. So he's come back playing the same character. Leonard Nimoy's family is giving his Mr. Spock ears to the Smithsonian Institute. They have that American history sort of museum where the one floor has like Archie Bunker's chair and Henry Winkler's Fonz leather jacket, stuff like that. So you're going to add Leonard Nimoy's ears to that, which is really cool. So he played Mr. Spock. What's that later? The famous alien WOW signal, a signal that a deep space network discovered that they couldn't explain. They were trying to figure out where it came from. Well, they figured out it might be coming from a system that has a sun-like star. So they've narrowed down the field of where it is. So now they're just going to have to narrow it down even more to see if this is actually a alien species trying to contact us from this area. So we'll see what happens with that. Former Jaws actor, I think he was one of the actors that had the fake fin in the original Jaws movie, one of the kids, is now the sheriff of the town where the movie was filmed. I think that's just kind of a really kind of interesting sort of story about that. I haven't been to Arby's in a really long time due to the pandemic. I kind of miss it. I want to kind of go back there, but I'm always afraid that if I go, it's going to be one of the things where, you can't eat in there. I like to eat in there, like Chick-fil-A now. I go there and I just basically get my stuff and I go and I sit in my car and eat. I don't know if I want to do that with Arby's. I like to kind of sit in the restaurant, but it seems like no one wants to sit in the restaurant anymore. So we'll see. I haven't been to Arby's in a while, but they have released for the first time ever, they're going to be selling a hamburger. They've never sold a hamburger before. Now they're going to sell a hamburger now. Don't know if it's going to be a regular piece of their menu or it's just one of these things where it's a special for this month or next month or whatever, and they're going to move on. That's kind of neat. Now, this is kind of weird. Now, Tom Cruise is flying high with Top Gun 2 right now, but his other franchise, Mission Impossible, is chugging along right now. It has had just about as many delays as Top Gun 2 has, but the next two Mission Impossibles are Part 1 and Part 2. It's called Dead Reckoning. And they've been filming it for a while now. Haley Atwell joins the cast as well. We get the first trailer of the new Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 trailer. And the movie's coming out in July. of 2023. So a full year and like 3 months before the movie comes out, they have revealed a trailer of something that looks like the movie's already done. I guess, they're filming both of them, I guess, back to back. So maybe there's a little bit more that they need to do, but got to wait a full year and a few months to see this. So now they're showing it now a year ahead of time, but they're going to have to refresh people's memories in the fall, and then again probably in the winter, and then spring, and then again. So we'll see how that goes. The Agatha series, House of Harkness, has gotten a window of release from Disney Plus. It is supposedly due to come out fall of 2023, which makes sense. Bring it out around Halloween of 2023, so that would make sense to do that. So we'll see if that actually happens. A new Scooby-Doo series, greenlit by HBO Max and Cartoon Network, and a joint production is been greenlit, so we'll be seeing new Scooby-Doo there. I think Matthew Lillard's coming back to do the voice of Shaggy, which is outstanding. Fast and Furious 10 has cast Rita Moreno as Vin Diesel's grandmother. So that's kind of interesting. And we're at the 2-hour mark. I haven't done a 2-hour one in a really long time. So I still got a little ways to go. So we're probably looking at maybe about 15 more minutes, maybe. So hang in there with me. Hunter x Hunter, a manga and anime that my wife and daughter really, really like, has had a lot of manga books, chapters, and anime, but the creator has sort of taken a little hiatus for years now. I think it's been about 3 to 4 years now since he's done any new Hunter x Hunter content. Maybe shorter than that, but it's been at least a year to 2 years, which is a huge difference between, taking a little breather and then continuing on with that, or just ending the series there. But he wasn't ending Hunter x Hunter. He just took a break from it, but he's now revealed that he is getting ready to come back and start doing new chapters of the manga, which will eventually lead to the anime being brought back out. So look for the new Hunter x Hunter manga probably to start appearing in Japan. It's just been announced now, so we're probably thinking maybe in the fall we'll probably see something from that, and then the collection of the new of these new manga episodes, new chapters in the manga will be put together into a book and released in the United States probably sometime in 2023, and then the anime might start in late 2023. So that seems to be a good timeline for fans of Hunter x Hunter. So keep your eyes peeled. Things are going to get better for you really soon there. I'd never heard of this before, but this is on one of those websites that talks about aliens and stuff like that. But a Thorian car, which I don't know what that's called, can run for about 100 years using only 8 grams of fuel. I don't know how it can do that, but it looks like a futuristic sort of car. And I guess that was, it's one of those things that it's on that page that has a lot to do with conspiracies and aliens and stuff like that. So don't know if that's true or not, but it's still kind of interesting. This is a true science story, but lab grown penises are on the horizon. So they've been working on, I guess, creating penises from scratch. I guess either to help those who've had issues with their penises, or maybe as a replacement for maybe being impotent, or not being able to climax and the whole Viagra stuff. This might be a way to create a new penis, and then you cut off your original penis and put the new one on. I don't know, but yeah, they're being made right now. Also, speaking of more crazy stuff, Sarah Palin, who's already crazy insane, is one of those deplorable asshole Republican QAnon assholes from Alaska, claims that monkeypox turns people into monkeys. That's why these people are fucking idiots. And we're not going to talk about that anymore. A 4-legged whale fossil was discovered recently. It's 43 million years old, but it was a whale that had legs. The Gondwanatherian is a new is a fossil they found is a new species of mammal that's been discovered and has been classified as a new species of mammal, the Gondwanatherian. So that's pretty interesting. Mixed berry lemonade and fried corn dog and mustard chips are coming from HEB. HEB's got some really crazy flavors. Mixed berry lemonade, potato chips just don't sound good at all. And fried corn dog and mustard is a bit more reasonable, but still blurg. No. Big's Little Caesars Extra Most Bestest Pepperoni Pizza Sunflower Seeds is coming out there. So they taste like Little Caesars Most Bestest Pepperoni Pizza flavor, but in sunflower seed form. Okay. Vincent van Gogh's artistic genius in his Starry Night, which is probably one of his most famous pieces, has gotten a Lego set. So we know for sure that it has come. All right, just a little bit. We might finish before 2:10, actually. So we might get here just about before 2 a.m. So let's move on through here. Yale, no, we'll start that at the end. Green Bay Packers fan has finally gotten season tickets after a 50-year wait. So he's finally got his season tickets, and hopefully he'll be young enough that he's going to be able to enjoy them. Teen Millionaire has created a Dr. Octopus arm suit. So he's a teen millionaire who created actual working Dr. Octopus arms from like the movie and the comics. And if he gets a little bit more money, if he's able to raise a little bit more money, it's going to be able to lift a car or something like that. Right now, it can just do small functions, but if he gets like $20,000, able to raise $20,000 more dollars, he's going to be able to strengthen it so they'll be able to raise a car or something like that. So he created Dr. Octopus, actual Dr. Octopus tentacles. So that's kind of interesting. A woman misplaces her engagement ring in her yard, then discovers it 13 years later wrapped around a carrot. I guess you could say it fell off in the garden. She was planting carrots, but it was a little bit deeper than normal. And the carrots didn't grow for like 13 years and then whatever. She found it. Chris Pratt and Kathleen Schwarzenegger have welcomed their second child. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is now a grandfather again. So good on that. We got our first look at Namor in the Black Panther 2, but it is a very fuzzy picture and the face is obscured, but you get the general idea. You can see his costume. It seems to be a comic accurate costume, but the drawing that they used for the Black Panther design makes him look almost like a Middle Eastern or Asian style. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that'd be an interesting take on things. So we'll see how that goes. But the first actual picture of the actor playing him was very fuzzy. It couldn't really make out a lot of detail, and the face was obscured. So whatever. Physicists have discovered particles that switch between matter and antimatter. That could be fairly scary, or could also be very helpful when it comes to certain things. A new enzyme has been found in compost that is said to help quickly break down plastic. So that's good. CIA scientist acknowledges that the alien autopsy video that was a huge thing back in the 90s, people had a debate whether it was fake or real, has said that it is actually a real alien autopsy. Again, I don't know if this is, again, it's not from a major website. It's from one of these side websites. So I don't know if that's true or not. So we'll see what happens about that. But they say it's real, so we'll see. And finally, Yale scientists have returned the brain function to 32 dead pigs, which can only mean one thing: zombie pigs are on the way. But they were able to bring brain functions back to 32 dead pigs. So somebody out there, apparently it's in Yale, is trying to work on being able to bring back brain functions in dead people. So you can make all the jokes you want about zombies, but the truth of the matter is, that's what it really is, isn't it? All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. And we'll be entering June here. So best month of the year. Well, one of them. Coming up here. Bye.